Welcome to our third module, From Excel to Tableau, a beginner hands-on exercise. For this module, we're going to see what's the difference between Excel and Tableau, and then we're going to try to import some Excel data into Tableau and create a table. Let's dive in then. For Excel, we use it to generate computational solutions using built-in functions. However, for Tableau, we use it to analyze large amounts of complex data, and we can create interactive charts, tables, dashboards, and stories. While for Excel, we mostly just are able to create charts and tables. And in Excel, we can only do basic data management. For example, we can filter the data, and we need IBBA to use it to its full potential. However, for Tableau, there is no coding knowledge needed, and we can join and merge data within Tableau itself. Now that we know the difference in between Tableau and Excel, let's start by importing an Excel into Tableau. I have prepared an Excel on Nintendo's total unit sales, and we are going to use this Excel for this module. Okay, so after downloading the Excel file, we're going to open Tableau, and first thing first, we're going to see the interface on the screen right now. To import our Excel file, just click on Microsoft Excel on the left. After choosing the file, we're going to see the dataset from Excel here. Now let's see what Tableau assigns to our dataset when we import it. The first one is the data type. It assigns a data type for each of our columns. For example, software sales, it assigns a number type for it. And for F1, it assigned a string type for it, which is basically text. The second one is the sheet name, which is the name we gave for the Excel sheet in our dataset. The third one is just the data title for each of our columns. Now, I want to make the column name clearer instead of using F1. So double click the area here and we can now edit it. Now let's call it product. If we want to sort the hardware sales by ascending and descending order, we can just click on this icon here. Now it is ascending order. And now it is descending order. Now, if what Tableau assigned for our data is not what we want, we can change the data type anytime by clicking on this icon here. We can see that right now it is a number type and it can show decimals. We can also change it to a whole number. Now there are no longer any decimals here. Other options are to change it to date and time, date, string, boolean, which is basically yes or no, true or false, and we can also assign geographic role to it. For example, it could be a city, could be country, could be latitude, longitude, but for the moment, let us switch it back to number with decimals. Now let's start creating our first table in Tableau. Below here, we can see a few tabs. The data source, which is the tab we're viewing right now, and there's also the worksheet tab. Let's click on it. Let's double click on it and rename it to total unit sales. After we have renamed the worksheet, we can see that the title up there has also changed accordingly. Now, let's look at the data pane. Let's start with the top. The first one is the data source, which shows where we are getting our data from. Below, we see two parts. Above the green line, they are dimensions. In Tableau, qualitative data such as names and dates are called dimensions. We use it to categorize and to segment the data. Below the gray line, they are measures. In Tableau, quantitative data are called measures and are aggregated by default. Right. Now that we know what measures and dimensions are, let us hover our mouse over product, click, and drag it to the field here. Now we can see the different Nintendo products. Let's also click and drag hardware sales into the field here. Hardware sales are shown accordingly. Let's also drag software sales into the field. Now both hardware and software sales are shown. Let us extend this field. And now we have a simple table shown. As we can see here, right now the table is sorted by product. However, if we want to sort it by hardware sales, for example, in ascending or descending order, we just need to click on this little icon here. Now it is sorted by descending order, and if we click on it again, now it is sorted by ascending order. We can also change how we view our table. If we click on this drop-down menu here, it is now in standard view, which means that there are no modifications in how we view it. However, we can switch it to fit the width, fit the height, or fit the entire view. Now let's try saving it by clicking this icon here. We can see that there are two types which we can choose here. The first one is TWB, Tableau Workbook, and TWBX, which is Tableau Packaged Workbook. Let's see what the differences are. For Tableau Workbook, it is an XML document linked to the data source, but it doesn't contain the source file. This means that if the person receiving it does not have the data source, no data would be shown. If you want to share your workbook, you will need to send both the Tableau workbook file and the data source file. For Tableau packaged workbook, it includes a copy of the data source, the TWB, and any other files included to make the workbook, such as images. However, TWBX is not designed for auto-updating. If you need to regularly update the source file in order to update your workbook, you will need to use the TWB file format instead. Since we already have the data source at hand, let us choose Tableau Workbook as the file format and rename it to Hands-on Exercise and save it. This is the end of our first hands-on exercise for beginners. You can move on to the next module, Basic Excel Functions in Tableau.